Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. So this weekend I had a cake fail. My customer picked up the cake and it was really gorgeous, and then it was really pretty. See how gorgeous? Yeah, it was a buttercream cake, and I chilled it and everything, and I doubled it, but it fell apart during delivery. So I told him to bring it back and I'll fix it. So today I'm going to be using this opportunity to show you guys how to fix a cake disaster, basically. So the first thing you want to do is you want to wear some gloves, because it's about to get really messy, because this can get really messy. It depends on what kind of cake. If it's a fondant cake, it might not get as messy, but a buttercream cake, like, guys, be expecting the mess. Anyway, so you're going to need a cake board, like a new cake board, yes, so you can be transferring your cake while you pull it apart. That way you won't make that much mess. So you need your turntable, and then put a new cake board on there so you can be stacking the cake. So the first thing you want to do when you open the box is to determine if this cake can be fixed. Is it worth fixing? Is it worth the energy, or do you need to make another one, or what is the situation? So you need to first evaluate the situation. That's number one. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is take out the accessories. For example, those butterflies I added, you want to take them out at this point. The happy birthday stickers, the toppings, those not covered in yogurt, you want to take them out. And then the next thing you want to do is scrape off the excess buttercream. Yeah, on the especially on top, and then some on the sides. There are some you're not going to be able to scrape off. This buttercream, you're not going to use it again except to layer the cakes again. So don't worry, just scrape them and put them in a bowl. So the next thing you want to do is to separate the cake layers in batches. So the first one goes on first, and then you're going to remove the dowels that are inside of the cake. Then you want to take out the second one, and it's good if you use a spatula, because it helps you separate where the layers start and end. That way you won't just mushing everything together. So before you put on the next layer, you want to take some of this buttercream that you already put aside and just put on top, because now you're layering your cake again, and you don't just want to put cake on cake without some cream on it. So you want to put on some buttercream that you already set aside from scraping off the cake, and then you want to layer on the next one. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is to smoothen as you layer the cake. Yeah, so you don't want to stack everything one after the other before you smoothen. The reason why you want to do this is because that way it helps you see how the structural integrity of the cake, basically, because you don't want it to fall apart the second time. And if it is not strong enough, or if the structure is not well built, it will fall apart. So you want to first smoothen around these two layers that you've made before you add on the third layer. That way you understand, okay, these two are already staying well, so let's put on the third layer. Will it be stable if I put on the third one? So what you want to do next, don't forget to layer some cream in between your layers before putting the cake on top. So the next thing you want to do at this point is, for me personally, I'm not going to put in the last layer because the cake has 4 layers. I'm just going to be using this 3. So now that we have all 3 that we're going to put in our cake, you want to make sure it's stable enough. Yeah, you want to assess the structural integrity before you even dowel. Is it stable enough? Can it hold its shape? Even if I don't refrigerate it, will it stay together? Are there parts of it that are crumbling and won't stay together? You want to assess your cake. Is this okay to go, or do you want to put in the fridge and bake an extra layer to put on top? Just decide, is this cake good to go? Like, will it hold its shape without falling apart when it's being transported again? Yeah, so that's what you want to do. So at this point, I like all these 3 layers, so I'm just going to finish my crumb coat, basically. I don't know if you can call this a crumb coat, because it already has cream all around it. So basically I'm just going to take my scraper and scrape off the excess cream and smoothen it and make sure it's standing as upright as possible, and then we are going to dump it in the fridge. Yeah, so usually I like to first leave this in the fridge overnight. So if you have a cake and you have time, for example, this birthday is for tomorrow, so I just told them, okay, come back tomorrow morning and come and take it. So the longer you keep in the fridge, the better for you. So for me, I'm going to dump this last layer. I'm not going to use it, because usually I find when you make a cake and it falls apart, usually the last layer is not salvageable, or it's too far gone to still be good. So it's just best you dump it. Yeah, so sometimes I'll explain to the customer that, it won't be as tall as it used to be. You get. So just don't forget to put the cake you already crumb coated in the fridge. So now we're just going to fix this last layer. So this last layer basically is for you to eat, or if the customer is your friend or maybe a really frequent customer, you can just pack it and give it to them. But in my case, I feel like it doesn't look professional, so I just, like, dump it or give someone else, or just throw it in the bin or something, because you can't put it on the cake anymore. It's still good to eat, you can eat it or anything, but just, it can't go on the cake because the cake won't be strong enough anymore, and you don't want it to fall apart again. So now the not fun part, which is cleaning up this place. So now you have to clean up this excess, nastiness, and don't forget to make another batch of buttercream, because you can't use all of this cream anymore because it has crumbs in it. It has, it's a mess at this point already. So you want to, just get rid of it and make a new batch of buttercream so you can use to cover your cake. Okay, so at this point, usually I tell my customers that, do you still want it to be the same design or change it? And usually most people prefer to change it, because that way they have two pictures of two different cakes and it looks like, oh, they had two cakes for their birthday. I don't know if it makes sense to you. Anyway, so this was the next morning and we're going to make a new design. And don't forget to dowel your cake again. Yes, you want to dowel it. At this point, it's really stable because it's been chilled overnight. So if you don't have overnight to chill it, make sure you have at least 1 to 2 hours to chill it. Okay, so I made some buttercream and I colored it pink. Remember, our initial cake was white, so this one is going to be pink and purple. And like, I already asked her what color she wanted to be. She said purple-ish, pink-ish. So this cake is going to be pink and purple. So now I'm just trying to cover my cake with the new buttercream I made and then smoothen it. And then this cake is going to have drips on it like the initial one, but it's going to be purple drips, and then it will have the piping on top and everything. And then I'm going to use some sprinkles because the initial nuts covered in yogurt that I used is finished, and most of it kind of ended up in the cream of the cake, but so I'm not going to be able to use that again. So I'm just going to use some silver and white sprinkles for this one. Okay, so at this point, I'm just trying to get my cake covered as much as possible. And this was the next morning, so it was a lot easier because it was chilled and everything. So for this cake, I'm going to do like a mix of colors. So this part is already pink, so I'm going to color some parts. It's going to be purple on top of it, so it can be really pretty and look really different. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to do our drips once the cake has been covered in buttercream. So this cake has like a purple or lilac drip, and it's really pretty. Okay, so once you're done with your drip and it's dripping where it should drip, that like the drip is dripping. Oh, I like to think I'm funny. Anyway, so you want to clean up your cake board as much as possible, and then also clean up around the cake and everything, so it can be really nice and clean. Everything won't be nasty and dirty. So now at this point, I'm just going to take some of my buttercream and put it into my piping bag, and then do the dollops of piped cream on top, and then just put some sprinkles, and then we're done with this cake. Anyway, so for this cake, I made some donuts that kind of matches the color of the cake, just to delight the customer. I do this sometimes, not all the time. I do it sometimes when I have time. Usually I get like a cake disaster. Like when I first started my cake business, I used to get them a lot, but nowadays I used to get them maybe like once in 3 or 4 months. I don't get them as often because I've mastered the art of making my cake stable and teaching. It's important to teach your customers how to transport their cakes so that they won't bring it back to you every time, because it's important for them to know how to handle cakes. You can carry it like a baby. You can carry it like it's a plate of food. There's a way to carry it. You have to carry it like it is, like your hand is a table, basically. Like whatever surface you're going to put it on, if you're going to be in a car or you're transporting it just by hand, or you have to carry the cake at all times like it is on a table. So if it is on your lap, make sure your lap is stable and it is flat like a table. It's not like one side is bent and one side is down. No, you have to know how to carry your cake. So usually I try to teach that. So for this cake, I made some matching donuts, and the customer was really pleased, and it was so pretty when I was done. I was happy with myself as well. Anyway, so if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, like I'm giving you the face right now, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my future videos. Thank you so much for always watching, and bye.